Oh my goodness, I love this. Hello, Aries. Welcome to your December soul session. I am Princess India. If you're new and if you're family, welcome back, my friend. And what's not, or whatever. If you're not familiar with what my soul sessions are, they are my spirituality as well as personal development readings, in which we look at the energies that you guys may encounter for the month, as well as any guidance, advice, or clarity we can give you in reference to those energies. So I'm not going to take too much of your time, Aries. I know y'all be having things to do and whatnot or whatever. So let's go ahead, okay, and jump into your cards. I'm just going to go ahead and take this as your central energy. Then your challenge. We have a past influence. We have our future possibilities, your above energy as well as your below energy. And we're going to start off with the energy that's at the bottom of your deck. And it is the High Priestess in the reverse in Aries. It looks like you're not listening to your intuition, or you're keeping secrets, or you just telling me none of my damn business. But I don't think it's, the latter. Of course you want me to know your business, right? Aries, of course you do, right? Anywho, but it's looking to me like you guys aren't listening to your intuition. So it's more or less, there's inclinations you guys are having, or you guys may literally be getting direct messages from spirit. It could be one of a couple of things of why it is that you're not listening. You may be new to listening to your intuition and not really sure if you should trust it. You could be normalizing it, like saying, that's probably just me. So you're getting intuitive hits on things. And you're just kind of like, oh, that's probably just me thinking that, because how could I possibly know that, blah, 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 things of the sort. But whatever the case may be, it's something that you guys are receiving in divine messages. For some of you, it literally may be dreams, but you're not heeding the call, or you're not heeding the message. So that is the undergirding energy that's influencing what we're going to be looking at in these cards. So the first card that was sticking out, we have the Three of Cups, card of joy. And then it's challenged by the Five of Swords. And then you guys past influence, we have the Two of Swords. This is interesting. Okay, Aries, what it's looking like for me is you guys are conflicted. Now, the things that it's looking like you guys are conflicted between is your head and your heart. So in the midst of all of this, there's something or somewhere you guys want to be, or something that you're desiring, something that would bring you a great deal of joy. But it's almost as if you guys are either in fear or just confused and conflicted on whether or not you should go into that particular direction. And there's so many themes in this where it's this weighing of the head and the weighing of the heart. Now, if I were to bring this back to like lunar influences, right? We would be talking about the 30th of November. There was the Gemini full moon, and it was a lunar eclipse. So typically, vibrationally, whenever lunar eclipses happen, we're talking about something being literally eclipsed out of your life. Putting that into the realm of the Gemini influence, and if we were to even go any deeper than that and bring that into a tarot card, we're talking about you guys making a head or heart decision, right? It's more or less, if you think about is, not is, yin, yang, good twin, evil twin, the whole dyad influence and whatnot. It's more or less you guys making a decision between something that's in alignment with your truth, right? Like who you are innately, like what your life is about, or who you are in a spiritual sense, and who you are in a 3D sense, meaning who it is that you were conditioned to be, or whatever the expectations are on you as a person. Now, coming out of November, you guys are in an energy of a stalemate with the Two of Swords, because it's still some level of conflict within, because I feel like you guys are aware of what it is that you want, because with the Three of Cups being your central energy for December, that's more or less saying like you're screaming out for joy, right? Now, some of y'all could just be drinking and doing festivity things with your families and things of the sort, but it's more or less, I feel that's like an external representation. Like if you guys are partying a lot this month, is an external representation of something that you're desiring more innately, because this doesn't feel very superficial to me, especially with this challenge being the Five of Swords. It's more or less, how can I say this? I would say with Aries, it's almost as if it's been fighting an uphill battle up to this point, and it's almost like the way that an Aries person would be perceiving this is not wanting to admit defeat or not wanting to quit or not wanting to give up. However, this vibe that I have is whatever you guys are going in the direction of or have been up to this point with this choice that's being offered, or with something that very well could be removed from you altogether, my friend, it's more or less needing to follow your heart on this. I'm not going to say need because I don't want to tell you what to do, but I feel like it would behoove you to follow your heart. Now, with this, I feel this conflict you guys are having isn't really with other people. I really do feel this is within yourself, like in your own thought space. It's like that whole ambivalent going back and forth type of deal here. But with this high priestess and with this 3 of Cups being here, this is saying to me that in the midst of any of the conflict or any of the stagnation that you guys are experiencing in your mental space, in your emotional space, you guys already know what the deal is, right? But I feel you've already gotten dreams or intuitive hits in reference to this, but it's either, like I was saying, it's either denying it because it's like, oh no, that's just me. You know what I mean? But I really feel like this is spirit trying to come through to you guys, but it's just not trusting your intuition. The underlying energy is the 9 of Swords. Dude, this is a lot of anxiety. Y'all like think about this a lot. Your above energy is the 9 of Wands. Wow. Whew, that's what I'm saying. That uphill battle thing I was saying I was feeling. It's more or less, Aries, whatever path you guys have been on up to this point. Now, I can't even, I'm nosy, y'all. Wait. Oh, use this deck. Because I want to know what we're talking about. Because this just feels like tea to me. I don't know why you started tickling my petty muscle, Aries, but dag nabbit. I want to know what it is. I want to know what y'all are in a stalemate about. But with this 9 of Wands and you guys above energy, it's fighting an uphill battle, but I cannot shake this nagging feeling that the reason why there's been resistance on the path that you guys have been on is more or less that's been spirit's way of telling you that it's not for you, like it's not in your highest good. And you guys wouldn't be desiring like this joyous celebratory feeling in your life if it was not for you. You know what I mean? But I feel like a lot of the conflict and the anxiety and the unrest and all of those feelings, all of that is coming from self-denial. You know, your past influence, your challenge, and your underlying energy are all swords cards. So that's all being in your head. You know what I mean? And with the 9 of Wands, that's more or less like a PTSD kind of energy. Not like the literal diagnosis or anything. It's just the fact that I feel the resistance that you guys have of listening to your emotions is that in the past, you guys have listened to your emotions before and you've been disappointed. Or if we made this more habitual, because we're talking about 9s here, and ending up cycles, it's more or less every time you followed your heart or listened to your emotions, you ended up in situations where you ended up getting hurt or you were like left holding the bag, if you will. So I feel that there's like an innate distrust that you guys have with following your heart with stuff just because it hasn't turned out well. But this is one of those things where it's like, it's almost like spirit is just like, look, this just is not your emotions. This is me. You know, mic check 1, 2 type of deal, you know? And I feel like it's really for you guys. And this is a theme that has come up a lot so far with signs before you guys. Oh, the High Priestess reverse is Pisces energy, by the way. But it's a theme that's come up a lot. And it's misunderstood. And I don't know what is going on with my throat. That's been happening with a lot of people too. Like this is a consistent lesson that a lot of signs are learning in the month of December, where it's misinterpreting lessons. You know, I talked about it a lot in Capricorn and a lot in the collective reading, but it's misinterpreting lessons. It's like with every single time that Aries followed their heart and were disappointed, they thought the lesson was, oh, don't trust my heart and my emotions because they're bad, you know, hypothetically speaking. So it's just like, I'm going to be more logical about things, right? But it's almost as if you guys have reached an impasse at this point to where you're using logic, but your logic is running you mad, right? Because underneath all of this logical thinking, there is no reprieve, you know? And it's starting to manifest as fear, and it's triggering you. Like, it's almost as if your own thoughts are triggering you to think back to a time in the past of why it is that you started just being logical about things in the first place. But that wasn't the purpose of the lesson. It's more or less, ooh, oh, wow, I know you lying to me. The angel of love is what is clarifying the two of swords. Dude, legit, I'm telling y'all, Aries. With this high priestess in the reverse, this is more or less speaking to like a temperance kind of energy, which is Sagittarius energy. It's talking about like balance, like being light on your feet and not swing too much to one side. So it's not making a head or a heart decision, it's making a head and heart decision, meaning that you listen to your emotions to maintain your connection with spirit, as well as to use your logic. And I feel that's the lesson that was missed in the past that you guys are getting to an opportunity to learn now. So it's not about divorcing your, you know, divine feminine aspects, because that is your direct connection with spirit. So when it comes to decision making, what you really would be doing is utilizing discernment, if you will, right? So how you know your emotions, like, okay, this feels right to me. But when you use your discernment, that's more of the spiritual side that transcends your human emotions, right? But if your heart space is cut off, it's like you cut off both. So if you cut off your human emotions, you're also cutting off your connection with spirit. Because I look at our human emotions as like a liaison between the spiritual realm and our physical body in so many words. But if you're shutting that heart space down, it's like, and I mean, if you're intuitively gifted, it's like you're gonna get messages, yeah, but it's gonna be kind of hit or miss, or you'll be able to get a whole bunch of messages for other people and none for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing is here, I feel like this is a lesson on learning to trust yourself again and slowly starting by allowing yourself to experience joy, because all of this conflict I'm seeing, the reason why it exists is because you're off balance because of your emotions being cut off. The reason why the anxiety comes up when you guys are making a decision, because sometimes logic is not going to answer everything. So you can think and rethink and overthink, analyze up, down, left, right, all of these different ways. And it ends up becoming triggering because you're at a loss, you're stagnant. I need to make a decision and I don't know what to choose. You know what I mean? But the solution and the answer to what it is that you guys need to choose, or what direction you guys, or it would behoove you guys rather, to go in moving forward, is following your bliss and your joy. You know what I mean? Because I feel that's what would reacquaint you guys with this connection with spirit. It's like, I am a firm believer in the fact that spirit exists where joy is, because like spirit is the essence of joy, right? So if you haven't been existing or living in bliss or joy, or you've been utilizing the external world to give you a temporary sense of it, like going out and partying, drinking, socializing, and things of the sort, try not to, you know, be by yourself because your thoughts eat you alive when you're alone type of deal. I feel what would really behoove you guys moving forward is getting back to the heart of joy. And when we talk about the angel of love being here, we're not speaking of it in a sense of just romantic love. We're talking about like agape, divine love. So I really feel like this is a call to come back home to yourself, to your heart space, so that you guys can move forward balance. Now, the card you guys have, look at that going forward, Aries. Y'all got the Magician. That's your card, Aries energy. You know what I'm saying? So in so many words, Aries, what I'm really seeing, dude, going forward, I feel at present, Aries is in possession of all of the tools, resources, know-how, you know, that you need in order to move forward and to manifest the reality that you desire. I just feel the only thing that is missing from you guys' life at present is tuning back into your heart space. Granted, totally understand why you shut that data down. I mean, I feel you. You know what I'm saying? I'm an earth sign. I'm like your close cousin. I'm right next door. I'm doing Taurus next. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I totally understand that. But the whole thing is that being in this space of over relying on logic, it puts you into positions like this, right? In this situation that you guys are in, of following your heart in this particular situation, and not necessarily in a romantic sense, but the necessity now is for you guys to follow your heart. And I feel that's where it's like all of this chaos is coming from, because it's just this paranoia and this fear and this hypervigilance one has in reference to like trusting their inner selves. But I feel that's the only element of this recipe, if you will, that's missing in you guys' lives right now. So it's really getting back to this space of reunion with yourself. It's almost like the ultimate love story of one's, you know, two facets, like your inner divine masculine and your inner divine feminine. It's like, you know, they're reconciling, you know what I'm saying? But I feel that's the only missing element that you guys need to fully stand into your power going forward. With this being the close of the year, and, you know, a chapter in a lot of people's lives that are closing, huge karmic cycles that are closing in people's lives, I feel like you owe it to yourself, you know, to do this for yourself, because this isn't about anybody else. It's all about you. You know what I mean? It's like, I understand even the mindset behind this of how it is one can feel like their emotions have led them astray. I totally get that. But I feel for you all, legit, that is the only missing element. It's like, if we look at the magician card, you know how the magician has all the stuff on the table and stuff like that. It's like, if you were to think about the magician's table, why I say Aries has everything, it's like you guys have, you know, the wands, you have the sword, you have the pentacle. It's like the only thing that's missing is the cup, you know, and a magician cannot do his alchemy or her alchemy without the cup that represents the water. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like everything you guys would make going forward would be kind of half-assed. You know what I'm saying? Or you won't be able to turn that lead into gold, proverbially speaking. You know what I mean? So you guys desperately need this cup, not for anyone else, but for yourself. So it's kind of like a reconciliation with yourself, and with spirit in your emotional realm, and in learning how to use your spiritual know-how or your intuition to help you in your mind too, because I feel like y'all done mastered that. Y'all done mastered your mind. You've been working in your mind for so long. You've mastered the logical realm of things. But it's more or less allowing your spirit to guide both your mind and your heart, so that you can have both and maintain the balance of both, if that's making sense. So it's not really a choice about choosing one over the other, because too much of one, and I feel like this is beautiful, Aries. It's like you guys are really wrapping up a huge cycle in your life. I kid you not. Because it's like, I feel what made you guys switch to being very analytical and logical about stuff was because you once upon a time were a very heart-centered person. You know what I mean? You were very led by your emotions. That didn't turn out well because you were too far on this side of the Likert scale. So then you started using your mind, then you got too far over here on the Likert scale. And the whole thing, like the Sag energy that we're under and the Temperance card, it's about now you understanding the balance. So it's like the new journey that you guys are going forward into with the Magician is being the master of your own fate and your own experience from an empowered place. Having learned like full circle on both sides, the karmic lessons of the heart, the karmic lessons of the mind. And now with the wisdom that you gain for both of those, you can integrate that into your life and move forward as an empowered being and the trailblazer that you are, Aries. Oh my goodness, I love this. I just hit my hand on my table. That hurt. But anywho, Aries, that has been your reading, my dear. I'm going over to Vimeo, my website, Patreon, and YouTube members to do you guys extended. So if you're about that life, follow me over there. But if not, I still love your face, and I will see you guys sooner than later, my friends.